Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher. And here we are again for another episode of Cucks, Simps, and Wimps. So in this episode we have a black liberal, a white female CNN reporter, which makes them basically the same thing, because feminists and your black liberals are pretty much united in that whole intersectionality thing, and they will both come to each other's defense. And so you have them against a white radio host who makes the appalling mistake of saying the word boobs on TV. I mean, oh my God, what's going on here? Isn't boobs the word that, like, I don't know, 7-8-year-old kids use for a woman's breasts? I mean, isn't that what the word boobs is for? That's what the word boobs is for. You know, what the heck? This is crazy stuff. So you have these liberals freaking out because this guy on the right mentions that he likes boobs and he likes freedom of speech. Well, let's get right to the story, shall we? Because it's absurd and it proves what a dire situation we are in the West. I'm done, CNN anchor triggered after panelist proclaims love of boobs and First Amendment. Anxious to discuss President Trump's tweet against ESPN, CNN set female anchor Brooke Baldwin. Yeah, look at her. She's a big fat land whale, isn't she? No, she's not. She's gorgeous, right? It's very interesting. By the way, this is something I don't get, because I'll get to this, but clearly any of these people freaking out over him saying something so benign and just general and not directed at anything has to do with the fact that you're not supposed to objectify women. I don't know why. They're just not supposed to, because they're human beings too. But of course, you know, men get objectified too. They'll tell you, no, we don't objectify men for their money. We love men for men. But of course, you're feminist, so you hate men. So men have no redeeming qualities. And in your own words, women have no redeeming qualities either, because we're not supposed to value them for their appearance. So they have no value. I see. So she's hot, but we're not supposed to objectify females. But we're also supposed to believe that there's no qualified fat women out there who could do her job as well or better. Interesting. So when Brooke Baldwin, on the task to get to the bottom of whether Hill did anything worth being fired for, if evil Trump was trying to crush her First Amendment rights. And the guy, the radio host, went on to say, I'm a First Amendment absolutist and believe in only two things completely: the First Amendment and boobs. At least he didn't say something else that was more vulgar, but, I mean, that's just the thing here. It was so juvenile what he said. How could anybody get triggered? But she did get triggered, which seemed to trigger. I don't know. What do you mean seemed? I mean, of course she got triggered. Which seemed to trigger Baldwin as she blinked and shook her head for a few seconds as if reeling from a McGregor haymaker. She doesn't know what to say. She's like, I'm a hot-looking blonde! What did you just say to me? Did you say the word boobs to me? Oh, my God! I'm freaking out! Excuse me. This is hilarious. She was freaking out internally. I mean, literally, this woman is very attractive. So, you know, I mean, she's not like a 9 or 10, but she's a good solid 8. And so she's like, you know what she's saying inside. And so she's freaking out. She's like, Jesus, I mean, this guy, he just said the word boobs to me. He said the word boobs. So she has to take a minute to, compose herself, find her thoughts. And then, oh my God, she actually replied to him and asked him if he said booze and not boobs. And she spelled it instead of saying it. For fear of saying the unsafe word. Are you kidding me? As she reminded the panelist that she was indeed a woman. What do I care if you're a woman? What does that have to do with anything? There's certain words I can't say because you're a woman is in the room. What makes you so special? What makes you such a precious snowflake? What makes you so friggin' valuable and so friggin' wonderful that I can't say certain words around you? Oh, really? The interview went on for a few more seconds before a second panelist, former ESPN editor, Keith Reed, and self-proclaimed friend of Jamil, was asked to join in And of course, he was asked to join in because she knew that he shared her politics. And he also could not get past Travis's comment. And then Travis says, "You don't love boobs too?" What he's trying to do, well, first of all, he's trolling them, of course. But he's also trying to point out the ludicrous nature of this discussion, okay? And this is all about First Amendment rights, but he is the president and is supposed to have First Amendment rights, and then he's not allowed to have First Amendment rights, and then you people freak out when I say the word boobs, thereby you're infringing upon my First Amendment rights by trying to use social justice and shaming tactics to shut me down. It's all very ironical, and of course they completely miss that because subtlety is not a forte of your liberal person, because I was going to say liberal thinker, but they don't think. They just parrot dogma. It's hilarious. "You don't love boobs too?" asked Travis. "I'm not talking about that on television." Of course he's not. Look at this guy. He's a proud, strong black man. He can't talk about boobs. Oh, no, because it's irrelevant to the topic. Well, if it's irrelevant, why are you even discussing it? Oh, because you have to shame it to virtue signal. "It shouldn't be brought up here," Reed responded. Travis asked, "Why not?" That's the radio host who said it initially. And, of course, the liberal Reed responds, "I'm a supporter of women in their careers." Now, this is, first of all, where you know this guy is a leftist, because he's just parroting dogma. He didn't actually stop to think about it, because if he had stopped to think about it, he would have seen that, wait a second, there's no correlation between using the word boobs and being against women in the workplace and having careers. So what's the correlation? None. That's just what he's been taught to parrot back as a talking point if he's confronted in a certain way. "I'm a supporter, and a stark supporter of women like Brooke, who have shared the airwaves before." So if you use the word boob, if you say you like boobs, you're against women in the workplace. Only a liberal could come up with that. Eventually, as Daily Caller details, Baldwin had had enough. Yeah, the woman had had enough. She's not going to let you speak. But she's for free speech. "I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done. You used the word boobs. You're out of here. The conversation is over." Oh, I gotta love it. Oh, CNN. Isn't this wonderful? Now, it used to be they would cut you off if you were like cursing or something. But all this guy did was said the word boobs, that he likes boobs. And they immediately booted him. Now, keep in mind, this is the media that's supposed to be the bastion of freedom of speech, and they are 100% against freedom of speech. And just like what we all forgot, what we were talking about, and the distractions ensure Jameel Hill keeps her job. See the full, farcical interview. I would show it, but I'd be afraid of a copyright strike from YouTube. They are loving to give me those of late. As a follow-up, late on Friday evening, ESPN President John Skipper wrote an internal memo proclaiming that reporters shouldn't get personal or inflammatory and that Jameel Hill's tweets violated the network's standards. Right. But anyway, the cuck in this story is this guy here. His name is Reed. Yeah, who was Keith Reed, big-time cuck wimp, the black guy on the left. So he felt a need to come to the defense of a white female reporter because, as you all may or may not know, in the world of intersectionality and oppression, essentially in the game that is the Oppression Olympics, black people and women, feminists namely, help each other out. Because, all these different oppressed groups somehow intersect at a specific point that is oppression of one form or another and disenfranchisement of one form or another. So they're allies. And that's why feminists love Muslims as well, and they're willing to look past all the, woman hating and abusing of women in Muslim countries because they both have a common goal, which is the destruction of Western society. So what do you think of this Keith Reed coming to defense of this white reporter because she objected to a guy saying he loves boobs? Which every man does. What's wrong with that? And what's the problem with this guy? What's wrong in this black guy by his head, Keith Reed, if you can call him a guy, essentially I mean, this is total proof. This is what I always say about liberals. They're nothing more than dogmatic parrots. I thought this was very funny. And I thought the irony that a news network that's supposed to support freedom of speech flips out about a benign word like boobs and won't even engage the fellow to see what his point is, which I thought the point was obvious, and they made his point for him when they kicked him off the channel, which is essentially that there is no such thing as freedom of speech with these news networks. They use it as a shield to protect themselves so that they can be free to speak, but then they lambast anybody else who avails themselves of the same freedom of speech that allows them to say whatever the heck they want and suffer no consequences. This stuff really annoys me. This is what social justice and liberalism has done to the world. Feminism. Ugh. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.